So, buenas, buenas. Welcome to the Center for Puerto Rican Studies here in El Barrio. Since the last time you were here, we moved from 68th Street to this building because this is where we belong.
Hey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about having this panel today. This is part of our partnership with the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. We've done a number of collaborations over the years. So what I want to say is this is their 15th year. And I want to say, Feliz Quinceañero. So I also want to say we have a group of students at 68th Street on Zoom who are also participating on this panel. So if everyone would turn around and say hello.
Hey, Zoomers.
They will be watching today's event, and they will be submitting questions to you as well.
Are they on mute? Sorry.
So the Center for Puerto Rican Studies, oh, wait a second. Did I tell you who I am? My name is Rosa Cruz Cordero. I'm the Outreach and Partnership Manager here at CENTRO. CENTRO and the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival present today's conversation with these talented actors and directors, producers. And we want to hear from them. We want to hear what has been their experiences, their challenges. Where do you see Puerto Ricans in the business as we move forward in the future? I am super excited that Sonia Manzano is here with us today. So Wilson told Sonia something that
she hears
I have
every
already.
day. That she hears every day.
Yes, absolutely. So I was brought here as a child from Puerto Rico, and so I didn't know English. How did I learn English?
Oh, yeah.
Sonia.
Yeah. So
So Sonia is an author, creator, and executive producer of Alma's Way, which is on PBS. She is our beloved actress portraying Maria on Sesame Street, and she's done so much more. And we will hear a little bit more about from her bio. We have Christian Mercado, film and music video producer, director, who works has collaborated with Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish. His feature film, If You Were the Last, is currently on Peacock. So make sure when
Go
you
watch
go
it.
home.
Give me some streaming numbers. You know, I need it. I need the streams.
That's real. That's real.
And with us
That's
is
nice.
also Wilson Cruz. So Wilson is best known for his roles as Dr. Culver on Star Trek Discovery. I'm not a Trekkie, I am Star Wars. We've had this conversation.
We did. I told her why she needs to be a Trekkie. We'll discuss.
He was Junito in Noah's Ark and Rickie Vasquez on My So-Called
Yep.
Life.
Iconic.
And he's a longtime LGBTQ activist and organizer. making us very proud.
See, I used all that English for good.
So I'm going to turn over this conversation to Veronica Caicedo and Xavier Santiago from the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival.
Gracias, Rosa. Welcome, everyone. As Rosa said, my name is Veronica Caicedo. I am the founder, and let me swing over here so you guys can see me. I am the founder and the executive director for the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. Woo! Thank you. Celebrating 15 years, La Quinceañera. We started last night partying, so if we're a little tired, please bear with us. I'm really excited. This is our 4th collaboration with CENTRO for Puerto Rican Studies in regards to bringing Cafecito con actores, directores, and plus. And so I just, if you guys have never heard about us, or show of hands, who has? Oh, okay, great. Well, those of you who have not, please follow us on Instagram, IPRHFF. Do it right now, and you can see all of our information there. Okay, we have 3 wonderful panelists. I believe, Xavier, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean,
You want to say the...
Yeah, I'll start introducing everyone. If you don't, Xavier Santiago, Xavier Santiago, I've been blessed to be the festival director, your festival director since 2020. Supported the film festival from its inception on as a producer, and we're really glad this was inspired. And we had a conversation because my dad gave a book to give you a background called Hispanics in Hollywood. I don't know if any of you remember that book, but to show relevancy to who we were and our presence back when we anglicized our names. So this is something Vero and I started chatting to build a bridge for reality. So without further ado.
I brought him in 5 years ago.
She's regretted it ever since. No, I'm just kidding. No, but a lot of love, mucho, mucho amor. So with that, let's jump in and make an introductions to our panelists. Raised between New York Spanish Harlem, Puerto Rico, Christian Mercado discovered his passion for the arts at an early age, often using film. That's right. As a form of escapism, his psychedelic animated short, Nuevo Rico, debuted at the 2021 South by Southwest Festival, guarding the prestigious Animation Jury Award, and is currently being developed
Javier, con
into
permiso.
full-length.
I feel like we did this.
Oh, no, we're going deeper.
Yeah,
with
okay.
the-
We're doing the deep. This is the deep dive. We're in.
Time in therapy, you'll get over
Okay.
it. You wait your turn.
No, oh, God, I'll leave the room for that part.
It's being developed in a full-length feature film. It also won our 2022 Best Animated Feature
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate
check out
that.
if you were the last written by Angela Boraza, please go give the clicks. What we say right now, it's clicks and butts and seats. That is the measure that's
I'm not.
important
I
for
wasn't even
everyone
playing
in the streaming
before.
world.
It would be. This is like easily an uptick in this room.
Yeah. He is
I could
also
also get residuals, so yo, you would actually
other
be
out,
helping
right?
me out.
He also solidified a place in today's comedy scene, directing specials from Michael Che, Lana Glazer, Taylor Tomlinson, Hannibal Buress, Sam J. Phoebe Robinson, and Ada Rodriguez. Those are some notable names. See how we're going upward, up the ladder. Okay, with work that's screened at numerous festivals, Mercado is a distinct voice for addressing issues identity, family, systemic oppression across race and class. His work is celebrated for its poetic portrayal of working class struggles and highlighting the gaps between love and loss. Mercado has several scripts in the works and laying the vital groundwork for the next phase in his career. Un aplauso.
Damn, thank you so much.
When you think of Sonia Manzano, you immediately think of children and television. Her most recent accomplishment was creating a children's program, Alma's Way, for PBS Kids. The series had won 2 Imagen Awards for Best Youth Programming, a 2022 Emmy nomination for Outstanding Writing in Preschool Animated Program, and a 2023 NAACP nomination for an Image Award. But what Ms. Manzano is best known for, performing the role of Maria on Sesame Street for 44 seasons, where her work affected the lives of millions of parents and children, garnered her to 2 Emmy Award nominations, and in addition to the National Academy of Arts and Science Lifetime Achievement Daytime Emmy in 2016. As a writer for the show, she took home 15 Emmys, In 2022, Manzano was honored with the Beacon Award from PBS. She is also an author whose most recent scholastic novel, Coming Up Cuban, set in 1959, follows the lives of 4 children who represent different intersections of race and class during the Cuban Revolution. Let's give it up.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to clarify that I'm New Rican, even though I wrote a book called Coming Up Cuban. My sister came up to me and she said, I didn't know you were Cuban.
I love it. I love it. Also, a fun-filled fact, we have honored Sonia for her work with our Humanitarian Achievement Award.
Thank you.
Un aplauso. And a shameless little plug that Vero and I had the pleasure of producing this summer and working with her as the mother opposite of Luna Lauren Velez in a film called I'm Not Her, which is currently in edit. So again, leaning in and helping others uplift up that ladder.
Thank
so
you.
Un aplauso, okay? And last but not least, no, I'm kidding. Nothing but love, nothing but love. Wilson Cruz, an award-winning actor, producer, activist, and humanitarian. Cruz recently starred as Dr. Hugh Culver as award-winning Paramount Plus series Star Trek Discovery. Actually, really enjoyed it. You've done brilliant work, because I am live long and prosper.
Thank you.
Thank you. I told you, I get there.
I appreciate it.
He's also the Netflix film Mother of the Bride, starring Benjamin Bratt and Brooke Shields. He appeared in the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why and Hulu's 2020 GLAAD award-winning original animated kids series, The Bravest Knight, and played Rickie Vasquez in My So-Called Life, which I discovered from my wife, quite the fangirl, as she met you last night, so well done. He's also an executive producer of the critically acclaimed docuseries called Visible, out on television, airing on Apple TV+, and that investigates the importance of TV as an intimate medium that has shaped the American conscience and how the LGBTQ movement has shaped television. He received GLAAD's Vito Russo Award in 2022. Wilson was recently named board chair of GLSEN, the nation's largest organization championing LGBTQ+ issues in K through 12 education, and also was awarded our Humanitarian Achievement Award this year. So, un aplauso.
Thank you.
Before we jump into our first questions, for audience questions, you're going to see to your left and right a little QR code on both walls. Please fill out your questions when we get to that section. Kimberly here will be reading them out. That will keep it organized, and that way we can get to as many as possible. With that, we'll take our seats and begin the first set of questions.
Okay.
So the first question is for Sonia. Sonia, you've inspired generations through Sesame Street, bringing visibility, pride to Latinx children for decades. Looking back, how do you see your role in shaping cultural and educational representation on television?
Well, obviously, I was cast on Sesame Street in 1971 because they wanted someone that Latino children could relate to. And when I was given the task of creating Maria or being Maria, they didn't say she has to be like this or that or whatever. They just kept saying, be yourself, which is very difficult. But I did remember very clearly my own years of watching television in the 1950s, watching Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver, and we were absolutely invisible at that time. We were not in newspapers, we were not in books. I really felt that all of this television watching that I did, though enjoyable, made me feel invisible. Because if you don't see yourself in the world, you don't know how to participate in the world. Even when people would ask me, what are you going to be when you grew up? You didn't know what to say because there was nothing that no one in the culture, in the environment that you could emulate. So I created Maria, or I allowed Maria to become the person that I felt I needed to see when I was a little girl. I should have written a book called Healing Myself Through Time and Television, because I was really kind of speaking to myself. And so when people say that they want to write for children, I always say, go back to your own childhood. Remember what happened to you, what you liked, what you didn't like. And that is for sure what some other child is going for. I'm just going to add one more thing because I don't want to take up everyone's time because this is about being in the media. I want to say you should understand the medium that you're in. I went from live action on Sesame Street to an animation world, which I didn't know anything about. So they're doing a Christmas show. Of course, I want to have pasteles in the Christmas show. And I share that with everyone, and everybody's on board. But when I see the first Leica, which is like a stick figure of the final animation, I noticed that the pasteles are served like hors d'oeuvres. Okay. So I look at it and I go, oh well, that's, you know, I'll have to clear that up with them at some point. But I don't understand that it's every step has to be approved. You don't go back once you don't say something at the moment where it's incorrect. Because I'm looking at it and it looks like a drawing, so I'm figuring, well, they could just erase it with a number 2 eraser, not understanding how it goes. So, you know, obviously they said, Jesus, you should have told us at that moment, because now we've told the animators, we've cleared it. Now we have to go back, and it's all about money and what are we gonna do? So que si pito, que si flauta, we figured it out. And we couldn't do the pasteles, and we changed what they were serving, so I think they changed the dialogue. So I just want to make that a lesson that I'm not gonna make that mistake again. I know exactly when my impact can actually be used. So I just want to, all you people out there that are trying to get into the media, understand the media that you want to get into very carefully.
Making me hungry for some. Making me hungry for some pasteles, right? It's that time of year. Our next question is for Wilson. Your career has been groundbreaking, not only for Latinx representation, but also for Afro-Puerto Rican and LGBTQ plus visibility on the screen. How has your identity shaped the roles you choose and the responsibility you feel to open doors for others who rarely see themselves represented in the media?
First of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm truly honored to be on this panel. How do I choose the roles that I play? Well, it depends on how hungry I am.
Fair answer.
I'm going to be honest. You know, because we're talking about a career that started in 1994. And so when I finished my so-called life, there weren't any other roles for me to play. There started to generate some roles. I'm using this as an example because they knew that there was somebody who was willing to play these roles. But it took a while for that to get into the what do you call it? Excuse me? In the system. Anyway, to get greenlit or whatever. So really for me, my career has been about what is the opportunity, right? Who am I working with? I'm always going to assume, especially early on in my career, that the material wasn't going to be perfect, and that my job, as someone who was a first in many ways, was to take the opportunities in which I felt I could fix it. Like I could collaborate with the director or the writers or the producers, and they were open to that kind of collaboration. And so stuff like I did independent films that, like All Over Me or Party Monster or those kinds of things that they were open to that kind of collaboration. In terms of the responsibility I feel, I mean, the best example I can feel about my responsibility is what Sonia did for me. So when she talks about the fact that she started, I can't even look at it right now. When she started Sesame Street in 1971, that means when I was born in 1973, I was 2, and so by the time I started to watch her, she had been well into into this job, this gig. And so when she talks about her effect, you want to know what the effect of her work is. I am a direct product of that work, right? When she says that when she was younger, they didn't know what they could dream about being, I can't say that because Sonia provided me the ability to dream something bigger for myself.
Thank you.
So when you ask me what my responsibility is I received that gift, and my job is to take it and pass it on. And the best way that I could do that was directly affecting the kinds of roles that people like me and like us could play. And so I took a job at GLAAD, which is a media advocacy group, a national media advocacy group, and I worked directly with studios and networks. I took 2 years off of my career because, hey, there was no work for me. So let's go talk to these people about why and give them the incentive to actually create work for a community that is hungry for it, which, by the way, is going to show up with dollars to support it. So it's about providing data and being dogged. That was a word I learned. And so, anyway, so that's what I feel. And so I was doing it, yes, of course, to create more opportunity for myself, of course, and people like me now, but because unless we push, unless we ask, unless we demand, unless we say this isn't enough, nobody else is going to do it.
Yeah, amen.
And so, by doing that at GLAAD, it wasn't just but the conversations I had led to shows like Pose. They led to shows like Glee. When we worked with creators, they send us their script. Hey, is this accurate? Is this an accurate depiction of your community? We worked with them on scripts. We were part of the storytelling. And I think that sometimes I think creators want to create opportunities and are afraid because they don't know if they can tell that story. But if you give them the permission and you guide them through it, you can do that. And we should be telling our own stories, right? How do we create opportunity for us to tell our own stories and be in them? And now I've said a lot.
Christian, you've collaborated with major artists like Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, bringing a poetic and socially charged imagery to mainstream audiences. How do you balance creative expression and cultural representation when working within a commercial film and music industries? And what stories do you still feel need to be told about Puerto Rico and its diaspora?
Oh yeah, I love these questions. These are good. First of all, I'm very honored to be here, sandwiched between two legendary, and something I always want to express is that something I loved about the iconic roles that you guys have played is that they really brought a lot of humanity to our experiences. I think that's something I always crave. As a director, I always seek out the humanity in something, I guess, and I think that's important. Oftentimes, I think in media, when people are portraying communities that maybe they are not necessarily a part of or something, that can kind of flatten it. There's a one-dimensionality that happens. And, to get to the answer to some of these questions, I would say that the power of no is a powerful thing, honestly. I know that sometimes we grasp at opportunities and sometimes there are not even that many opportunities, so the no is actually so hard. But our ability to say no to work that we don't find to represent us, or if we feel it's not right, is kind of actually its own power, because the minute you start, and I will say that it is easier to do in communities that are affluent. If you come from a white community, you have more opportunities because of, there's not as much pressure. There's more wealth of opportunities. So when you're from a marginalized community, you do have a smaller pool to pick from, so that decision is a lot harder. But what ends up happening is the minute you create a compromise, you create a chain reaction of other compromises that you're going to have to do, because the work you generate is the work you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? So like if I create like a piece of work that has a sense of inauthenticity to it, then the next fan I'm gonna get called for or asked about is gonna kind of be an echo of that, because they only really hit you up for the fans that you create, because that your work is a reflection of who you are and like what you're about and like what you're trying to make. You know, it is always sort of this vein where like people always look back to the body of work that you've done to kind of represent what they think you want to do, you know. And so I think there's an idea of just being smart about like, and you know, and it's important to create your own opportunities. I think like anytime you can invest in yourself, I think that's always a good thing. Like go and create with your own community, with the people you feel you have a kinship with. Try to find your collaborators, the people you celebrate with. Spaces like these are great. When you go to film festivals, I found a lot of people that had a kinship with. Like I would find people that were like, oh, I love this producer, or I love this actor, or I love this editor. And then suddenly you start building like a little community of folks that you can kind of go back to. Because, you know, cinema as an art form really kind of is a derivative of theater, you know, and theater operated on the concept of theater troops, you know, people that, it was just a group of people that would collaborate constantly together. That's why when we look at the work of people like Wes Anderson, we're seeing them work with the same people over and over again. Part of the reason Steven Spielberg is an incredible director is because the minute he walks in the room, all those people he's worked with beyond 20 years. There's a shorthand that you can never replicate, you know? So the longer you can create collaboration with your peers, the stronger you're going to be in your work, you know, and that is about building community. So I guess, damn, maybe I went on a tangent there. I don't know. What do you still, I'm going to read the question. What stories do you still feel need? Every story, man. There is no representation of Puerto Ricans. Like, it's very low. Like, I mean, I say that, that's an extreme statement. There is, but you have to seek it out. Like, we were even talking in the back room how, like, in Puerto Rican, even our history is something we have to seek out. It is not given to us, you know, like we have to fight for it. And like, that's what we need to do with film and media too. We have to fight. And I think like, that's a very strong word, and it does come with consequence, because sometimes when people don't like disruptors, you know, that we praise them when they're there, but we don't praise them when they're disrupting, you know? So there is a sense of bravery required in that, because you are challenging institutionalized systems ingrained in racism. And I will say that it is racism. When you look at TV and every showrunner is a white showrunner, and anytime you have even shows of people of color are run by white showrunners, and that is incredible. And there's an inequity there that exists, because you don't get to represent yourself authentically. And that person also participates in the highest paid role in representing your community. So that is not equitable, and that is not fair. So you have to fight, and we need more showrunners that are people of color. We need Puerto Rican showrunners. We need Mexican showrunners. We need black showrunners. We need queer showrunners.
Yeah.
And that's how we're gonna change it. And we need our communities to start demanding that.
Thank
And if you don't know, if showrunner is a term that you're not familiar with, that showrunner is the producer who hires all of the writers. They run the writing room. They create the stories. They are the voice of each character. They are the person who looks over the entire production.
And they're some of the most powerful people in Hollywood, honestly. They're like, they make a lot of money, you know, like they do.
And there's like 3 of them that are Latino, and one of them is Gloria Calderon.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. Bless her, Gloria. Shout out to Gloria.
But she came through, and this is my point. She came through a program. She came through the Writers Guild program, I think it was.
Yeah.
And which is why I was last night really grateful and impressed that the film festival has its own program, right, for filmmakers, for young filmmakers. So that's the only way that it happened. You know, because if you want Puerto Rican stories, then you have to have Puerto Ricans telling them, because we know how to tell them, right? So, and I think there is the actor is not without responsibility, right? Like, there have been opportunities for me to insist that, you know, I'll be hired for a character, and it won't be specific about what I am. And so if I, which is fine if you're doing one episode, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, like, every episode, like, I'm in this one episode and I'm gonna be like, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm playing like a series regular role or a
Yeah.
recurring character, and they just want it to be some amalgam of Latino, I'm like, no.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a Puerto Rican person. And to the extent that even when we were making Star Trek, and it was 1,000, whatever that is, 3,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
You
Puerto
know,
Ricans
when
in space.
When that
I love
character,
it.
yeah, when that character talked about where he was from and who his parents were and his grandparents, he talked about being in Cabo Rojo. He talked about eating, pollo guisado and what all the stuff, right? Like, it was very specific because, like I said last night, when you are specific in that storytelling, it becomes universal. People see themselves in it.
100%.
Right? You're inviting in understanding, but also you're inviting in empathy and recognition of your own perhaps colonial and cultural experience.
It's certainly true. The more specific you are, the more people will like it or relate to it, because Sesame Street was set in a New York setting. Now, why would everybody in Ohio who lives on a farm like it, or the Japanese people like it? And it's because it was so specifically set. And to your point, we just had an Alma's Way script, and one of the characters says, "Eso." Okay? Now, that's very cool, but it was a Puerto Rican character,
Right.
and I was saying, but we don't say eso. So they said, oh, and we have a character of Mexican descent to say eso.
Right.
But it's in those little
Yeah.
details of being specific that people will connect to it.
Yeah.
All right, so I loved how that, we're going to do some questions down the line. Vero will ask one, I'll ask one down the line. I think you've really kind of hit the nail on the head. I would ask in kind of short burst answer, we've talked about the barriers we're faced. What would you say is the next thing we need to break down? We only have 3 showrunners, and showrunners are in television, everyone. Otherwise, you'll have in the studio system, you have the executive producer who's hired to then bring in the producer. So what would you say are the next barriers and better ways we could network to be the cure the cause?
Oh, yeah.
I think you have to take this is new for me, so I don't really know that much about it, but I think that there's so much pivoting off of what's on television into different platforms. Like, I see such talent on Facebook comedians and on YouTube, and I'm thinking, why aren't these people on Saturday Night Live? They're much funnier than those than those guys. So I think that there might be an opportunity there to do your own thing on those other platforms.
I think that's probably where you're going to get the opportunity to create, especially if you're just starting out right now, because of, and I'm just, we're not having this conversation in a vacuum. Okay, we're having this conversation in a moment where DEI is a bad word.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Networks
So,
are
which
cutting,
is, the
trimming.
whole world is upside down.
Yep.
So,
And that's very being actionable. Like, CBS fired a lot of their black like working staff. It's like insane,
And so there were, I think I can say were now because were programs, at the studios, at the networks where they were. Thank you, this man right here. Would have a program where they would look for talent and put them through a course, right? You go, it's how Gloria came up. It's a system, right? You have to work yourself way up, and there were attempts and efforts being made to make sure that writers' rooms looked like this audience, and those efforts are diminished or
being undermined
or gone now. So the reason why that's not just me being a Debbie Downer, because information is power, right? We know that that's what's happening. So what do? We create our own, right? We look to people and spaces that can in which we can create our own programs. If we create the kind of community within Latino storytelling communities in which we can do that in. But it's going to take effort.
Yeah. I'd like to say, like, it's a lot of it probably centers too around the work you make. Like, if you make undeniably good work, people will gravitate towards it. People will seek it out. They'll find it, and it's kind of like your job almost to put it out in the world, like you want to treat it like almost like a fire that you're kind of like lighting a torch and you're trying to get other people to get into the same fire and like see the fire. I got asked the question a lot, which is like, how do you get like representation, like talent, like in an agency or a manager? And a lot of times I think like that equation gets mixed up where like you have to kind of almost generate something for them to be able to like kind of sell, you know what I'm saying? Because they're like more like sales people almost, like they're kind of selling you to like networks and other people and whatnot. And if you don't kind of have something that you've generated to show them to be like, hey, this is something that I think is unique and interesting, can you do something with that? So you have to kind of generate stuff to like be able to showcase that too. And I think that's they kind of ultimately work for you kind of, and you kind of have to lead that ship a bit, I think, so having kind of a vision for the kind of stuff that you want to put out and make, I think goes a long way. Once you start to kind of chart a vision, write it down in a real simple way. Like, here's my goals, 3-year plan, break down the goal into like steps incrementally, whether it's what I want to be an actor, I want to be a producer, I want to be a director, I want to be an animator, whatever it is, and start and follow people that already did it, and then see how they did it, follow their trajectory, and then it gives you kind of a roadmap. It doesn't mean that you have to follow that roadmap exactly, but at least it gives you a path, I think that's a pretty useful, practical way of looking at it too.
Definitely. Before we open questions from the audience, I'd like to ask one more question to Sonia. You recently lent your voice for a very special educational project at CENTRO, the Diaspora Rican Educational Program. What resonated most with you when you lent your voice to this project?
I had so much fun reading the curriculum for this huge project about Puerto Ricans and everywhere that they went and our history. And what was interesting to me was the racial terms that we came up for each other. And I remember, and it was so clearly stated, I said, you really want me to say grifa? I remember those words when look, this woman's jaw dropped. That's exactly how I felt. And so, and I did remember that word as a child. And there were several others, and it was based in how the values of race were put upon people on the island, and how the people on the island decided to manipulate and find all of these terms for racial features. I thought that was amazing, and I thought that the curriculum was very bold in that it stuck its, I don't know what reactions you're going to get to that commentary, and from what I hear, it's terrific. But I think that the whole program was very bold and very insightful, and I learned quite a bit from it. I thank you for asking me.
Kimberly, I think we can open it up.
Okay, perfect. This is from Wendy Bertrand, Manhattan Boy, Bronx raised. Considering the rise of streaming platforms, AI, and the industry's recent focus on diverse storytelling in 2025, how does the current landscape for creating and distributing authentic Puerto Rican narratives and securing roles differ from the opportunities and challenges faced during the era of network television and traditional studio systems in the 1970s? And how would one navigate during this climate?
Well,
I do.
Okay,
There's
sure.
a lot in there to unpack.
So, considering the rise of streaming platforms, AI, and the industry's recent focus on diverse storytelling in 2025, how does the current landscape for creating and distributing authentic Puerto Rican narratives and securing roles differ from the opportunities and challenges faced during the era of network television and traditional studio systems like the 1970s? And how would one navigate this climate?
I think it all points back to the
Yeah. Well, w- well, one of the things that I was actually thinking about when you talked earlier, when you were speaking earlier, was that that you know, for better or worse, and mostly worse, I think, in my humble personal opinion, AI is about to change the industry. It's going to change the entire world, and the industry is included. But it could also democratize the entire thing, right? Because there will be, the process will be different.
Yeah. It also might like put more value in like handmade fanes too.
That's
you
what
know,
I mean. So
like it could also create like a both fane. Both fanes could happen simultaneously. Like you go to a supermarket, you might want some craft shingles one day, but the other day you want artisanal cheese. You know.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in the sense that, you know, we might have more control over, or more ability to create with fewer people, and right. I mean, right. It happens with every revolution, but
Yeah, it's happened a couple times. Like, it's not the first time the film industry has had like major upsets. I mean, like the one that I could speak to the most is probably the transition of film to digital. That kind of changed how film worked in general. It opened the doors up to a lot of people, you know, like because suddenly the cameras were like more affordable, cheaper, like people.
heavy.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
No, because then
Yeah.
you didn't have to have like a person who could lift 50
Yep.
pounds or
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep. But at the same time, while that's also happening, then there's like the contrast of like people going hyper specific on like like on IMAX film camera, which is a lot of effort, and it's like there's a different image quality that goes into that and a lot of other things. So like I feel like anytime you democratize a technology, there's also the opposite can happen at the same time, you know, and you can kind of almost pick and choose, I think, you know, to some degree. It's up to you. Like, I think anything that empowers you to create is powerful. So, like, just, I think a lot of things are just tools, and it's really how you use it, you know, and like the wisdom behind it. The industry's in disarray right now, you know, like, it's like, but it always is, you know, because like it takes like a kind of like defining it, like people define it, you know, like they're trying to find their way, and like till somebody discovers that way, it's like, oh, then this starts to work, you know. I think a lot of the creator economy is probably going to be part of that, you know, like people creating their own things online. I think that's going to be an interesting space right now, because like I feel like with the networks having such a hard time figuring it out, when you show them how to figure it out, then they kind of gravitate towards that, you know. So
Anyone else?
Sorry. This question is for Sonia. Hello, my name is Danielle, and I'm a Staten Islander, Puerto Rican. My question is, what is your favorite memory of working with a puppet? Thank you for the wonderful memories. Felicidades.
Oh, I've had so many wonderful times with the puppets. I loved Oscar the Grouch. He played also Carol Spinney also played Big Bird, and Carol Spinney's personality was very much like Big Bird's, kind, sweet, gentle. But when he put the Grouch on, he turned into a different person. And we once had a very vertically challenged person come onto the set, of short stature, extremely famous, and Oscar came out of the can and said, "Boy, you really are short." Well, I was standing next to the cannon. I looked in, and there is Carol Spinney cringing, saying, "I don't know why I said that. Oh my God, is he coming over here? Are his hands in fists?" So, you know, and it was the most remarkable personality flip I ever saw, and that's my story about Oscar the Grouch. Thank you for asking.
thank you for sharing that. That's good.
All right, this question is from Lisette Colon from Queens. What is your dream project? Is there a chance you'll see it happen? What's bringing you joy these days? And what would you tell your younger self? This is a lot of questions.
Who are you asking?
All of them?
Oh.
What were they again?
We'll take one at a time.
Sure. So what is your dream project, and is there a chance you'll see it happen?
I mean, Yeah, I mean, dreams come true, sure.
Well, I mean,
I want to do like a animated feature set in a cyberpunk Puerto Rico. I've been working on that for like about 6 years, roughly. You know, I was developing it for a minute at Illu. Oh, all right. Yo, all right. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's kind of my dream project, I think, right now. Maybe Pedro Avisu Campos, I'm doing the short. I would like the feature would be like a dream, you know. I think earlier you were talking about the Young Lords, you know. Yeah.
I think
You
Sonia
know,
was going to say something.
well,
Oh,
no, I
sorry.
just want to say that this is what you just said reminded me. I went to, do you know who Fabiola Mendez is? She's a great cuatro player. And she works on Alma's Way, and she plays bombas and plenas and aguinaldos, and she's absolutely fabulous. And she did a show, and I went to see the show, and she has these wonderful musicians, and they're playing this wonderful traditional music. When they got off the stage, and I could see they all had tattoos all over here and nose rings, and it was so charming to me to see these very young, current people playing this traditional music that, you know, we heard in basements in the Bronx when I was coming up. I just thought it was a great juxtaposition. You know, they had blue hair and shaved up the side. It was just a wonderful image for me. Do that.
That sounds like a movie that needs to exist. Actually, that sounds so dope. Actually, I was like listening to you, and I was like, yeah, and picturing it in my head, like, wow, that would be a cool movie.
I have so many dreams. I do want to tell the story of the Young Lords, but I'm looking for a way in, and just because I think it's an incredibly relevant story for this moment, right? There are lessons to be learned there. There is inspiration to be mined, and there are assignments that we need to take back up. So I'm interested in that. I really do want to play Walter Mercado.
Oh, that would be so sick. You would crush it.
Just because it's not just because he was this amazing personality, but because it is a story about never giving up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's about never giving up and being your authentic self while doing it, right? A person who failed over and over in his personal life and in his dreams, right? He had so many dreams for himself, and I love that he found such joy, right, and being allowed to be his self, right, and created such happiness for people. Anyway, I love that idea.
Christian, let's do it.
Yeah. I love that Walter Mercado was like a wizard.
Yes.
He's like a wizard. You're like, yo, this dude is a wizard. Like that my mom likes. Like, my mom likes wizards. That's what's up.
I mean, he connected generations, right? I think about like sitting on my grandmother's couch, watching, cállate.
Géminis. Géminis.
Cállate, mira, ahora viene Walter.
Yeah. You definitely had to pay attention when Walter was on the TV.
Capricornio.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. That was good. That was good. That was so good. That gave
Channeling it now.
All right.
I love it.
Ooh, I got chills in the back of my neck. That was good.
So before I go on, shameless plug for Centro. You said you wanted it in for.
Oh
Young
yes,
Lords.
no, I know.
Pull up to the archives.
This is how I've come into the world. You know, so
Got
yeah,
it.
I'm in. I just got to finish this movie that makes me look like this, and then I can. If you're wondering why I look like some homeless person at the moment.
No, he looks good.
What?
So, what's bringing you joy these days? And then, what would you tell your younger self?
Well, I would tell my younger self not to be so impatient. It's very off-putting to other people. And I
yeah.
just can't, I still can't control that in me. I'm still very impatient, and I was impatient as a kid, and, sometimes it works in my favor, but sometimes it doesn't. So there you are. And I got to say that my grandson brings me the most joy
Aw.
recently.
Let's see.
What was it? Joy and pain. And what would I tell my younger self? I mean, honestly, I still tell him, I think I remind that kid inside of me that you're perfect just the way you are. Right? Like, so much anxiety growing up and just feeling like, I'm imperfect. And by the way, I am, and thank God. And then joy, my nephew. And that's the honest to goodness truth, because we have to fix this before that 7-year-old becomes an adult.
I would tell my younger self lottery numbers. No, I'm just kidding. I would actually. All right, now that my serious answer now is to write a lot and like learn the mechanics of screenwriting and writing faster and sooner. Just because like that, first of all, doesn't really have like a financial barrier. Like writing is, it's just time and effort. So there's no financial aspect. You don't need a team. You don't need a crew. It's just really like a singular act. And the ability to learn screenwriting is something that's pretty accessible if you just seek it out. You can just read like tons of scripts, and you can like learn the mechanics of what makes that script work. And then like, if I think like had I done that earlier, I probably would have been better sooner somehow. It took me a while to kind of get used to that, I think, or find it. And it was kind of like an organic process, I guess, sometimes. But yeah, if I had like a 5-year-old kid right now, I'd be like, yo, read this. Like, go read a script. Like, learn that. Like, you're gonna, I don't know. And then joy, honestly, just to be honest, vegging out is like my joy right now. Like, just taking time to like not put pressure on myself sometimes. I think like a lot of my life was, especially after I made my first movie, I felt like there was this mountain to climb, and I really like tore myself apart, because I wasn't treating myself well, like my I feel like the toll it took on me psychologically and in my body and my health and all that, just because it's so hard to get to that point, It took me like, my first movie, I was like 39, I think, when I directed it. So it took a large part of my life to finally get there, to find the trust and find the story and all that. And yeah, I would just, I think like it's nice. I find joy now in like kind of being comfortable with like rest and like taking care of myself, I guess. And then like, I think that you still want to put that effort to make your next fame, but be gentle with yourself, I guess. Yeah.
Could I add something that I wish I had done more of when I was younger is ask my parents more about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I am so sorry. I don't know what grade my mother went to in school before she came to the mainland. I don't know how much schooling my father had. I know he was in the service, but I never asked him what part of the army he was in. And when I ask, I always tell young people, even if they're not forthcoming, and they might not be, try to get this information out of them, because I'm so sorry that I didn't ask my mother what her pajamas were like. I mean, the details of whatever her life was in Puerto Rico, I just, I thought I'd get around to it. I would ask her someday, and those are the stories that make us up. And I would encourage you all to do that if there's elderly people in your family.
That is beautiful advice. I'm like, come on. Thank you. I know we have some more questions in time. I do want to make a quick comment that what Christian talked about in our industry, and you talk about recording our stories, Sonia, like this is information that is invaluable for all of us, and that's what CENTRO does here, like it is here where we put and deposit all of our information, everything that happens for the Boricua, Latinos, todo. And I think, Christian, you hit the nail on the head and we did a workshop, and I'm sure, Vero, you remember, where we talked about producing and writing is the only role in the industry you don't need someone's permission to do but yourself. Producing is the one that needs everyone's permission.
Yeah.
So that's something, thank you for elevating that.
Yeah.
So I won't refer back to Kimberly for
Yeah,
the next
it's a
question.
skill. It's also a skill set that translates to every part of the industry, because if you're a good writer, you might be a good producer. You know what I mean? Like, it could, you become a producer, or it definitely makes you a better director. I'll say that. Like, ever since I started writing, or really taking on the onus of writing, my directing has gotten much better, I think, too, because of it.
This question is from Alexis Garcia of Harlem. How did you decide to choose your path that divides your potential audience and support as an actor? And she gives some background context of being a queer actor who grew up Pentecostal and is having a hard time choosing visibility versus general support among her people, or their people. Thank you.
I think that was for me. So can I hear the beginning of that question again, please? Thank you, Alexa.
How did you decide to choose your path that divides your potential audience and support as an actor?
Oh, because I came out. Oh, right, because it's, this is, this is the instrument, right? I only know how to play this instrument. Martha Graham talks about, you are born with talent. It's given to you. You are the vessel of it. It's not your responsibility to question it. It's your responsibility to give it. And this is it, right? I was made a gay Latino man. That's how I showed up in the universe. That's the instrument I play. So my being out doesn't work for me as an artist, right? I can't access what I need to access emotionally and reality-wise. I can't escape, any part of that, because I need all of that in order to create it, right? So, the closet creates a vacuum. And you cannot, in order to create something, you need something. You know what I mean? You need yourself to create as an actor. So it was never a question. I didn't question it. It was like, especially because I was playing Rickie Vasquez, who was this first openly gay series regular character on network television, thank you. My point is that I had no choice either, right? Like, what I was presenting, the point of Rickie Vasquez was to say, we are all on a journey of self-acceptance. And so if I am the actor portraying that and being asked about my own identity and I deny that, then I am negating everything that character was meant to teach and to express, to people empathize with. I understand, and I don't want to minimize your the incredible obstacle that the Pentecostal church can be in terms of your gender identity or sexual orientation, and that is a very personal journey that I find difficult to give advice for at a panel, but I will say that there is a world out here for you that is ready and willing to accept you in your current and future form. And there are resources for you to help you if and when you want to reach out for that, and I hope you do, because it's going to take a community and support in order to deal with that. But if you're an artist and you want to do this for your life, and you know that it's the only thing you want to do, you have to do it. You have to find a way to do it.
All right, thank you. This question is from Francis Acevedo Hernandez for Christian Mercado. How do we support independent Latino directors and help them create projects where we are in charge of telling and showing our own stories? And where do we find the funding and access to stages / audiences?
Oh, damn. The money question. That's tough. No, I don't know. I think, like I said, I feel like that if I were to forecast, I think the creator economy is a really interesting place because it empowers the person to make things. Like, we're seeing the emergence of like YouTubers, Instagrammers, like that kind of social media spaces. It is actually where television people are looking to develop shows now, So like it's kind of almost like the proof of concept back in the day used to be like, oh, you make a pilot or you have like a deck or a script. But now it's more like, oh, this group of people or this creator made a show on the internet and that has a huge audience because a lot of people now seem to invest in audience more. Like I would say like the industry as a whole has quantified itself a lot. There's a lot of data, there's a lot of metrics, like that's part of the, I think the part of the weird double-edged sword of streaming where like, yeah, this is like ubiquitous now, but at the same time they collect so much data on us now about like our viewing habits and it's almost too much. That's like this idea of like, oh, this Netflix algorithm show, like that's a concept now because they're using so much data metrics, and people now collect audiences, and if you're an executive, it's almost like such a safe investment now to be like, oh, this person has like 10 million followers, and they already like him and or her or they, and they're like, let's just invest in this person, and I'm not saying that that's good or bad. It's just kind of like part of what's happening. I think like if we can kind of align to Puerto Ricans who are already sort of doing that in an interesting way or in a cool way, that we support and we think, oh, this person's building an audience and they have a really strong perspective and finding alignments with those creators, I think could be powerful. I think it's also a way to find financing perhaps too,
I want to share what I think about Tyler Perry. You know who he is, obviously. Now, there's an example of somebody who created an audience, a theater audience. Now, certain people would go to the theater and see an African-American play and treat it like it was a church experience and shout out to the actors. Uh, uh, James Earl Jones was playing a character in Fences, and somebody in the audience said, "That's right," or "I agree," and he stopped the show. He said, "This isn't church. Do not talk to me while I'm acting."
Yeah.
Okay, so Tyler Perry takes that idea and creates shows built so that people talk to the actors.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody's going to see these kind of shows that ended up to be like Medea. So all of these people are all of a sudden going to the theater, and they never went to the theater before. And Tyler Perry created that audience. So I'm thinking, well, let's think about the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. To support those shows and go there. And I've noticed if it's about salsa, everybody shows up. So I'm wondering, and maybe this is an idea somebody out there can develop further, create somehow, the click is like the salsa and build the audience. Because that seems to be something that a lot of people generate to go to, and then kind of, infiltrate something else within that salsa
You just
example.
reminded me, Sonia, of something that like Puerto Ricans have amplified through music always. Like music
Is the main thing.
is the thing that we have been able to amplify. Like, the minute a Puerto Rican makes music, it travels the world. And I think cinema should piggyback off of music somehow and like find a way to amplify itself through music.
And I'm going to piggyback on what you said, which is and I agree with you, but the reason why it goes around the world is because it's innovative.
Yeah.
What Bad Bunny does isn't what we've heard before.
Yep.
Bad Bunny takes music, he takes influences, he merges those influences and he filters them through himself and a Puerto Rican culture that he uses as a foundation, and then blasts that out. But the part of it that I think that we have to latch on to is the innovation part. And I think that's the part that comes natural to us because we are an innovative people, if nothing else, because of necessity, right? We will, I mean, what was it, Fannie Lou Hamer said, make a way out of no way? I mean, we make a way out of no way. We make a way out of no way. So, you know, it's about, and technology, by the way, like I was trying to get at earlier, because technology is advancing so quickly, that there is a way to take advantage of this moment and harness the power of that technological advancement and innovate what it is, how it is that we are going to take in entertainment in the future. And I think this is a ripe, I think about it all the time. I have to do, I'm not doing much about it, but I think about
it. But you guys are going to do something about it.
Right. It all begins with a thought.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's really important that we, you know, I just want to add, piggyback off of everything that you're saying, that, you know, when there is something out there and maybe you might not know who these people are, this is really important. Your support is the most gratifying support that you can give to an artist. And then and give that constructive feedback. You know, we're here today and this is a free event and it's great, but go out and really support those events, even if they are just a few dollars more. Because if you don't, we're not going to be able to grow together.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I say this because we've been doing this festival for 15 years, and 15 years we have grown immensely. But for me, it's not enough. Yeah. I want to see more of you there. Yeah. And this is not just a Puerto Rican film festival. This is an all people's film festival. So I want to see, we have Peruvian films, we have Mexican films, we have Turkish films, we have everything. It's international. We want to see those people come and see what we can do, because that's what it's all about. That's what we need to strive and bring. So show of hands, who has not been to the International Puerto Rican Film Festival? All right, so we have 3 more days left. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Regal in Battery Park. There's a flyer outside. Grab it, and please come check us out.
And then this is the final question from the Q&A from Vanessa Savo, a Hunter College student and Nia Regan from the Bronx. Who are some Puerto Rican role models that have inspired you to get to where you are today?
J-Lo.
I would not be an actor if it wasn't for Rita Moreno or Raul Julia.
Raul Julia,
They made me realize that, you know, I didn't have to be a clown. And, you know, and I didn't have to, I'd be a three-dimensional professional actor, right? And be taken seriously and be an artist. That's what they taught me. And this one.
I have to, and I know that the movie West Side Story, the first one, is like under some criticism lately. But it was the first time I saw Puerto Ricans in a movie, you know, on the screen, and of course the performances were wonderful. But what stayed with me was that it was the first time I saw like my neighborhood look so beautiful. Like it was the first time the fire escape was. It's not just a fire escape, it's where people make decisions and yes.
That's so real.
The fire hydrant was like a sculpture, and the schoolyard fence, and this is all cinematography, the schoolyard fence was like a Matisse, because I walked around those sites, but they never looked beautiful to me. They just looked like my neighborhood. So, and I think that on some level, I understood that that was art. When you take a banal thing and somehow you exalt it because you imbue it with your own sensibility. We've all had rotten flowers on our tables. But when an impressionistic painter puts, you know, it gives it meaning. So I think that was that seeing the graffiti in that movie, it was just that the visuals of that movie that made the guitar against the wall. We had guitars against the wall. I didn't think of the painted in French doors, painted turquoise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love that, and I also, but I also love that the newer movie made us look beautiful. And they used us, right? They used us to tell the story. So it made it Ariana looked like a beautiful
Oh yeah, and she
Puerto
won.
Rican
And she won the
woman,
Oscar for that. That was a
and
huge moment for
I know
Puerto
there was
Ricans.
something elevated about it. But that story is so relevant to our existence because it was kind of like my mom talks about it, about like a raising of the curtain, like there was like we were letting people in on the secret, right? Like we were like, oh, come find out who we really are. It felt like people were finally seeing them. That's what she felt like, and I get that, and it's a touchstone cultural moment that we continue to respond. That moved the short last night at the film festival is called A West Side Story, and it's gorgeous. It's produced by Luis Guzman, and the filmmakers were there last night, and it's just a gorgeous piece of filmmaking.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a West Side Story story, and for those that weren't there, it'll be playing on Saturday, and Ana Zambrano is the writer, director, and actress. Will be there. Semi Guzman was a producer on it. Luis Guzman was an EP on our executive producer, who also participated in our Cafecito con Actores. I do have to ask a question of our founder, the actress that inspired you. I think that's
Oh, man.
hard-hitting questions.
I don't. There's so many. I think that I think the one she's not an actress, and that's my mom. She's not an actress. She's my mom. So you look up to what you have in front of you, and she's she's an inspiration. Sonia and just everyone. It's a collaboration, and you take those bits and pieces of these women and these men that create some. My father, may he rest in peace. He was a composer, a lyricist. He was an actor. Out of his 6 kids, I was the only one that came out to be an artist, just like him. And I don't regret anything. I love it. You want to continue. It's a beautiful. The entertainment industry is beautiful, okay. And if you're there to really enjoy it, don't stop. Just keep going and find that support. Don't let anyone turn you down. Never.
Work. Ooh, I love that.
Well, we are all done with questions, and I want to thank. Yeah, could we do a round of final thoughts? Words of wisdom, deep thoughts by Jack Handy, if you remember that SNL skit.
Go to cinemas, support the films you love, and vote with your dollars, and support Puerto Rican filmmakers too, and like actors and creators, because that's the only way that community grows, is through the support, and word of mouth, like spread the word.
Go to the Bronx Music Hall. I just love their programming. It's a schlep because there's no train station near it. But so I went to see Bobby Sanabria do the music while watching what's the George Romero scary movie, The Living Dead?
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
There's films about Cuban musicians, and then Bobby plays the music that the film inspires. So I think it's like very interesting programming. Just a plug for the Bronx Music Hall.
Nice.
I'm going. I think since we're talking to young filmmakers and storytellers, that we live in a really exciting time, if we want to look at it that way. And the fact of the matter is that we're not going to be entertained in 5 years or even 10 years the way that we are right now. And so I would say lean into innovation, lean into thinking outside of the box. Use whatever education you have as not necessarily as an instruction manual, but as tools that you have at your disposal that you can use in the way that works for you and the story that you're trying to tell. And when you, if you think outside the box, just imagine a world in which you could put a camera anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere, like it doesn't have to be on someone, it could be on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you edit that too? How do you tell a story that way? Do you tell it from different perspectives? Do you tell them all at the same time? I don't know. You start, we are innovators, and I say we lean into that.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
And hire me when you do it. No, seriously.
I feel I don't want to step on the toes of your films tomorrow, but someone made a documentary about me called Street Smart, and it's gonna premiere on Sunday it's part of the New York docs, and so.
Hey, it's about supporting one another.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.